almost a full white head, just a little bit of color around the eyes. Not the smallest critter, are you? Huh? We had another little mishap out by the red feeders. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. All right, it is Tuesday afternoon. Did not record anything yesterday, honestly, because it was get in and get out farm-wise, because I had to run back to the other side of town to the other high school, Wassa East High School, and do my in-person CPR recertification. All coaches for all sports need to be CPR certified, and your certification's good for 2 years. And this just happens to be the year a bunch of us lapse. It's like 3/4 of our football coaching staff actually lapses this year, which is totally fine. Normally it's at West, little CL 913. This is our lone Bruno daughter. She is pretty sloppy and has a pretty decent bag going on there. So we are definitely filling up the yard and emptying the main group, which really isn't the main group anymore. There we go. Alright, so we're done with the shop. Feeding's done. Nothing out of the ordinary. But we knew that the tie rod ends were a little bit loose. We noticed that. Unfortunately, it's not the actual tie rod end. At least it doesn't look like it. Unfortunately, it looks like this hole's actually tapered a little bit, but it also looks like it's been kind of ovaled out. So we got to pull and replace these caps. Now, they're not terribly expensive, but we also have to get it off. Apparently that cap is also like tapered. It's like a spline and a taper. At least that's what we've been told. So it wouldn't pop off just by tapping on it. So we're gonna throw a bolt in. We're gonna throw a bolt in the hole, and we got a pretty good sized puller, and we'll see if we can get it off.
Guaranteed to pop right out of here.
Alright, got these all painted up. We're going to hit the step/top of the battery box. Everything got 2 coats. We're going to hit that with the top with a 3rd coat. I like the color of this stuff. I did not like the spray pattern of this stuff. Seemed like a very fine stream. So, finished with the Rust-Oleum. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, Wednesday afternoon. And got a little something to show you. Besides, holy crepes. Marigold. A little toit down there. she is due in just a couple of days. And we gotta do some bedding because Goggle Gergs is dirty and she's got a little calf. I gotta figure out what it is. Right here. Almost a full white head, just a little bit of color around the eyes. Not the smallest critter, are you? Huh? Oh, yeah. I gotta check her out a little closer. I think she's pulled. I also have to double check that it is a she. Alright. We gotta figure this out here. Yep, that is a heifer. And that is one of the wants that I wanted. I wanted to get a heifer out of her because I do think she's a really, really nice cow. She raises a great calf every year. So, kind of really wanted a heifer out of her. Thinking that's mid to upper 90s weight-wise. So, a little bit on the high end. She spit her out like a freaking dime. I know that. I had combined two 301s. They are loosely related, but I did combine those two just because I scissored up this right here for 430 to make the pen 1.5. So that just in case somebody calved today, which they did, she actually had it right here. There was like a half-hour window where I wasn't watching, and then I looked again, and she's licking on it. So it was like, okay, yeah, well, you spit that right out. All right, fairly normal day feeding wise. Some need hay, some don't. Nothing too crazy. Got to get a couple girls out of the short chute here. All right, so Dad's doing a couple fluff jobs, and then we're gonna go grab straw bale and bed the guys in the loafing shed. All right, it is more water time, and we got everybody moved around where we wanted them. So we've got 430 and 301 Phantom are back here. He's a little older, but he's still like a little slow. I don't know what his deal is. He eats, he sucks, he's on, he's healthy, he doesn't have the runs, he doesn't have nothing. He's just like, he's like, meh, you know, whatever. And then Goggle Gergs is right here in the Green Gate pen. Oh, that is full. Actually shouldn't have filled that one up so much. Because little Nala, she's honestly doing pretty decent considering she's kind of like tilts now, where she just kind of always has a little bit of a lean. You know, she gets her own pretty decent. She just always has a little bit of a lean to her, but she eats real well, she drinks well, she moves around well. It's like Tilt 2.0. We got this old lady who's not so little actually. She's got a lot of leg on her, but Mom has a little bit more frame on her too, and not by much. I've said since we started kind of getting into the whole Fleck world or Fullblood Simmental world, the Flecks will get taller and then they'll get longer. It just always seems how they are. So if you remember, so we got Goggle Gergs and Whitey Gergs, which Whitey Gergs was the other one that was a little bit lighter. She's just a smidge shorter, which made her seem like she was a smidge longer. That's why I really hated the fact that she was open last year, but cull prices are just too good. But like her and Goggle Gergs were like 3/4 sibs. So they're pretty closely related. But Goggles has got, she was just a little bit taller, which makes her look like she's just a little bit shorter. Not a big deal. She's still got plenty of length. She's got a great bag on her. So then we have 3 calves now that are north of the border. So this is still pretty darn decent. Even down over there is pretty dry. The real hope is if we can get those cows out on the field this weekend, then all of these calves would go into the loafing shed. Here is another reason why we like feeding grain to some of our cows. They don't get it in the wintertime. This is their treat, is that I can help get them on. And unfortunately, they just get dirty in the wintertime. And see, she needs a little bit of, no. No, you just need a little guidance, right? Oh, right. Come on. You want the back one? Yeah, the back one works. Back one works too. When you got a pretty calm cow, like Goggle Gergs she's pretty chill. She don't really care. You walk out there by her out in the feeder, she'll walk away. I mean, it's not like photo, but you give them the reason to stand still for a little bit with a little bit of grain. If I can get in here and help this kid out, get on and start getting a little bit of a meal, get a little bit of happy tail going. Yeah, happy tail. That's what you want to see, is happy tail. That's when you know they're getting the good stuff. And I don't think little Marigold is going to make it 48 hours. So, because that bag is tight. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, Thursday afternoon. Not going to show too much today, honestly, because it's kind of rinse and repeat. Also, we got like probably half-inch of rain today. So if you thought it was muddy yesterday, it's twice as bad right now. Things definitely look nicer when you've got fresh bedding. Right, Goggle Gergs? Right, kiddo? Yeah, she is a solid little lady. I checked her again. She came up to me kind of close. And I think it's just the way that the hair is on the top of her head. But I rub pretty good in those areas where the little buds are supposed to be. And I could not feel any horns. So I actually finally got around to posting our ad to sell the 29. So hopefully it's gone by the time you guys see this. I think we're asking a fair price. All right, we brought her in. She's not overly excited about it, but she's a pretty calm heifer. She'll calm down. And honestly, I'd rather do it right now than have to come back out here in like 2 hours and have to do it anyways. Hey, happy Friday. All right, it is a little chilly out today. I do need to try and get these girls inside because we had another little mishap out by the red feeders. FK 913 had her calf out there today. Don't know what it is yet. It's been up walking around. Don't know if it sucked yet. I'm pretty sure it did because it looks pretty lively. And we do have one more surprise in the barn, but I'll show you that in just a minute. First, we'll work on this cow. All right, so FK 913 had a little heifer calf. We'll get her inside in a little bit. Just got to figure out what we're going to do with everybody. Unfortunately, it's a heifer calf. Had kind of a run on heifers. I'm sure Dad doesn't like that. All right, so we did some moving around so we could make room. Goggle Gergs here and her little heifer calf. Well, not so little heifer calf. She weighed in at 101 pounds. Right on the money. Is that a little big? Maybe a little bit. But if you really look at her, how she's built, she definitely has a lot of leg. She is coming out of a little bit bigger frame cow. Not a lot bigger frame. I mean, Goggle Gergs is actually not, I'd say she's middle, or, top third maybe. You know, she's definitely not the biggest cow we have. I think Cher's probably our biggest frame cow. We'll see how she develops. We'll see who else is in the running for keep, and we'll make our decisions in the fall. Because we had this little girl last night. So Marigold finally finished off the heifer crew. This is another kingpin. It's a little stocky. A little bit stocky. And also, like, you know, they're supposed to come out like Superman. Okay? Superman, like both hands. But this leg was like halfway through. So when the head and the leg are both trying to come through the birth canal at the same time, that's pretty tough. And then you ask a heifer to do that, which is even tougher. And then you ask Marigold to do it, she is a little bit small. She should be like another 100 to 200 pounds bigger. I'm guessing she's probably about 85 pounds. Marigold herself, even though born unassisted, was 80 pounds. We did have to help and pull. We didn't have to bring out the puller. So if we don't have to break out the puller, then I classify that as an easy pull. If I break out the puller and it's actually like working, then I classify it as a hard pull. I've broken out the puller and it's been just a really easy go, but it's been because I'm by myself and I don't know what it's going to be like. But then it ends up being super simple, you know. So that part is a judgment call, but it didn't help with the bad presentation. All right, so I did just give Marigold's calf like a half a bottle of colostrum. She took it, actually sucked it down like a champ. But the whole time I was in there, Marigold didn't care. She didn't care one iota, and that's exactly what you want. Sometimes you got to be a little bit cautious with heifers because obviously they're brand new moms and you don't know how they're going to act. Hopefully Marigold keeps it up. All right, so we're coming to the end of the day. It's been a pretty decent week, kind of getting back to normal after the snowstorm, and it is supposed to start getting warmer. I think back into the 50s this weekend, which will be really nice. I think we'll be working on the 42 this weekend, but even more important is we might try and get these loafing shed pairs out on the heifer pasture. What we call the heifer pasture. It's just the chunk of the little pasture chunk that's just south of the bales. Good week. A couple of really nice calves this week. Honestly, a couple of really nice fleck heifers this week. We had to help Marigold out last night, but she gets a little bit of a pass. She is a heifer, was a little bigger calf, a little bad presentation, and she is a little bit small. So, but she is a nice heifer. I think she'll be just fine for us going forward. She just needs to get rebred. Factory will take care of that this year. I think she's a little bit too late for us to try and AI her. I hope you guys liked the video. Please smash that like button on your way out. And if you got any questions, please leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Help support us here at Ohrmundt Simmentals. And as always, thanks for coming along.